Hey, Laomi, how you doing? You good?
I'm good. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Two Grown Men. My name is Alami, and
Welcome
with me,
back.
as usual, is Yemi.
Welcome
What's up,
back.
Yemi? What's going on?
Yep, not bad at all. Happy
Culture.
Easter, everyone, for anyone
Happy
joining.
Easter. He's
Happy Easter.
risen. He's
Yes,
risen. He's risen.
absolutely is reason. Absolutely. So I'm just gonna go straight into today's topic: growing loneliness in men.
Ew.
Why is it happening?
Ew.
Why is it
Heavy
happening?
topic. Heavy topic. It's heavy.
Very, very
Let's get into
heavy.
it, Yemi. Yeah.
So
Loneliness.
let me start from the beginning. So there's a widely cited survey from the Survey Center on American Life, which found that in 1990, well over 30 years ago, about 55% of men that they spoke to in this study said they had at least six close friends. Now they're saying that by 2021, that number dropped to 27%, so almost half of what they had in 1990. And the same study found that 15% of men reported having no close friends at all, a fivefold increase from earlier decades. And another major report from Cigna on loneliness trends found that men under 40 report higher loneliness scores than previous generation, and social isolation was linked to depression, anxiety, and reduced life satisfaction. And furthermore, data from the American Psychological Association shows that men are less likely to seek therapy, less likely to discuss emotional struggles with friends, and more likely to internalize stress. All three together can amplify feelings of isolation. So I think it's kind of fair. But what's your take? Why do you think this is happening today? And why do you think it's getting worse from what we had 20, 30, maybe even 40 years ago?
Honestly, deep subject. I think it's got to do with the society we live in now. The world is very, very different. You'd have to go into it historically. But, first of all, those numbers are scary. When you say 27%, when you say scary. I think the world has changed drastically from, what were we talking about the last time? Our father's generation,
Yes.
how the world was for them, and how it is now for us. There's a lot more pressure, and the structure of our society has changed. When our dads were younger, they worked, they had work. There was a lot more structure about their lives. They worked. Moms primarily took care of the home. Men got to bond at work, and then they had their after-work drinks or their social clubs and whatever it is.
Hobbies.
Their hobbies and co. I think men had these other channels for their pressures or for their emotions. They had these outlets. But having said that, Yemi, I think it's just that there's a greater awareness now than there was then. I think if you had taken a study of men back then, you would have found maybe not this level, so maybe things are worse, but I think you'd have found a more significant level of unhappiness and discontent, is that the word, than maybe people ever admitted to. Maybe there are no studies done, or how many people admitted honestly to those studies, to their feelings. Whereas we live in a world now where you're being trained to be in touch with the feelings more.
I don't think it's to do with that. I think it's to do with I think it's to do with one thing and one thing alone: technology. Technology has forced us to be isolated and insulated. If I happen to be working from home and I don't want to be a human being for 30 days, I will not see a human being for 30 days. Why? I can get my groceries delivered to me, whether it's my African groceries or my milk or whatever. I don't have to go out. I don't have to see anyone. I can go on my phone and WhatsApp whoever I want to WhatsApp. I can even do video calls. So I don't have to in our parents' generation and their parents' generation, we were forced to see people. In fact, NITA wasn't even working sometimes, even when you paid your bills. So you would leave church and you would go and see Mr. Lagbaja or Mrs. Lagbaja after church. You guys had to meet each other. Now, technology has meant that because we're in a virtual world, you may not feel the urge to necessarily meet one another, apart from your immediate family, of course. So these socialization vehicles that we had then, like our parents' time and the time before them, we are moving from tales by moonlight days where a great a wise old man or a wise old woman would sit under the tree and everybody gravitated. Now you can watch that on a TikTok channel. A TikTok video will tell you everything you want to know about that great story that man told you. Somebody's just going to narrate it and you watch it and, okay, is that what's the big deal? They don't get that warmth, that feeling of everybody being around the person, and the little children are like, wow, so grandpa, what happened next? Or grandma, what happened next? And they're soaking and they're asking questions, and that chemistry and the whole thing. I think when technology came, in as much as it's made us closer, but it's also made some of us feel far apart from each other. So I think technology is the game changer. And you're right, maybe if studies were also done 40, 50 years ago, maybe, but I don't think it would have, I think the figures are pretty accurate because of what technology has done. So I'm looking at it from technology and lifestyle changes perspective in terms of why social connections have weakened across modern societies.
So, two things can be correct, right?
Yep, of course.
Two things can be correct. So there's definitely something to be said. I don't dispute the fact that we are lonelier, or we are that. That's genuinely a thing. And you're right. You're not going out as much, and it's a much more competitive world than it ever was before. It's much more competitive, and then technology also now lets you see what other people have and what other people are doing. If you lived in your bubble, right? You went to work, you came back, you saw the world on TV and on the road. You could live in this bubble where you're happy, you're in your neighborhood, and you're keeping tabs with your peers. And maybe once in a while you run into someone who you know, but who's doing better. But the gulf might not be so much. Most people you meet will be doing at a similar level to you. But these days you can see someone halfway across the world, and you can see intimate details of their life. And you see people's holidays and people living the life that you would love to live. And that can force you to confront certain realities about your own life. So I don't doubt that technology is playing a role in it. There's also the competitiveness. People are losing their jobs. And then again, we're getting to an age where you have a lot more experience, but the kids coming behind you know the technology a lot better than you do. You're a dying breed. You're a dinosaur. You're dying. And we're only 50 years old. So you're the senior manager, you're the executive, you're the MD, or whatever it is. But if you work in a space that's highly competitive and that requires you to be on top of technology, that's just one angle to it. There's also like the marital angle to it. Look, marriages are dissolving like crazy.
Yeah.
Some people are not making it past the first year, second year. And so, and you're at that age where you're empty nesting, right? If you think about it, your kids, if you had your first at 30, that person is almost 20 years old.
Absolutely.
So they've left home.
An
They've left
adult,
home.
yeah.
They've left home. So it's just
They've left
you
home.
and your
Even
wife
if
at
they've not
home.
left home physically, they've left home mentally.
Yeah. So
Or they're about to. Yeah.
if you're still married, then it's back to you and your wife. What kind of marriage do you have? How are you guys dealing? And if you're no longer married, do you have someone in your life that you're spending your time with? Do you have someone that you're talking to? It's a lonely time. It's a very, very lonely. And the financial pressures. And life is hard enough without Mr. Trump waking up one day and bombing the Ayatollahs.
Yeah.
And bringing the cost of everything up to like what?
In
the year when things were already
we're
hard.
definitely feeling the pinch globally on that one.
Yeah.
I think for much of the 20th century, how did men socialize? Right? Taking it back to what you were saying earlier, they socialized through sports leagues, they socialized through churches, which people still do. The traditional churches, after church, they would have a torchbearer society, this society, that society, and then people would easily form groups. Somebody is on the building committee, somebody is on the finance subcommittee, somebody is on this committee, that committee. That is a form of socialization. Then we have like bars. We also have community clubs like Rotary Club, Elks Club, Lions Club, just to mention a few. But today, we have fewer local clubs. This is global. We have fewer long-term workplaces as well, because one of the ways where men used to socialize was work. So like back in the day, we had people who had 20, 25 year, 30-year jobs. A lot of parents had those kind of work patterns. Either they had their own business, or they're working in the ministry, or they're working in the army, or they're working in some private sector. They usually do that 20, 25, 30-year stretch. Now we have fewer people. People are literally doing 2-3 years in one job, and they're tired of their boss. They're tired of the company. The pay is not good enough, or they want to go and do their own thing. So there's a lot. There's more job mobility these days. So work used to be a major place where men build friendships. But today we have remote work, which is rising. We have gig economy jobs, which isolate workers, contractors, etc. And instead of working with the same people for, say, 20 years, like I mentioned, where you would have been able to build something outside of maybe your marriage, or something outside of your community clubs, you have somebody else that maybe you can trust at work, that you can discuss some of your issues with. Now, if you have less workplace interaction, you are going to have fewer friendships, because you can't just start a new company now and within 1 year it's like blabbing everything about somebody you just met, or somebody you've been working with for 10 years. You're kind of like, okay, this guy, I can trust him. I've known him for 10 years. He's not going to like go outside and tell everybody my business. So that's an extra person that you could sort of like confide in if that's your thing. I mentioned technology, and I think platforms such as Instagram, X, TikTok, etc., they can give the illusion of connection. Facebook too. Facebook says you have 1,000 friends, but do you really? Do you really? Are they really your friends, or they're just people that you've added, or they've added you? So studies show that online interaction these days are replacing face-to-face relationships instead of enhancing them. So online interaction is supposed to be an addition to face-to-face relationships. But these days, we're saying that online interaction is actually what people are going to. So it's affecting us in a way, because now we give more screen time to technology. And if you're not careful, you can have less real social contact. And then, so like what I said, you can have 1,000 followers, but how many of them can you say are friends. Then you talked about dating, you talked about marriage. I'll talk about dating a little bit. So dating has also changed over the last decade. So, you and I back in the day would, our dating would probably be face-to-face interactions. These days, a lot of I think I spoke to my friend last year, and he was saying that, his nephew was 21. He met a girl somewhere, and instead of talking to the girl within the first 3 seconds or 4 seconds of interaction, can I have your Snap? Can I have your IG? So they had to get their Snap and IG to now go and talk on Snap and IG when they could have literally just talked there and then. Insane. And that's what he was saying. He said, what is this nonsense? He said, but
you mean they're not toasting babes?
No, they are toasting babes, but they are toasting babes
online.
They can meet her. They can meet her face to face. But what they are trying to get to is how they can continue that conversation virtually.
That's not toasting.
So social skills.
That's not toasting.
Skills. So yeah.
We didn't have texting, so you had to drop lyrics.
And guess what?
And see that girl.
When romantic relationships decline, or if a romantic relationship declines, who is your primary emotional support system? Is other men.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And if
you don't have those guys, then and men have also historically relied on partners, wives, girlfriends for emotional support. But back in the day, they've also had other men too as emotional support, especially if you want to get guidance or you want direction, or maybe you're thinking of doing something. Okay, let me just ask this person. I think he's a wise guy. I think he's somebody who can give me balanced, feedback on this particular thing. These days is not as much as back in the day. And you also talked about economic pressure.
Yeah, man.
Economic pressure. We cannot understate how economic pressures play a big role. And we talked about how everything is just going up. And I was speaking to a couple of friends of mine in a group, WhatsApp group, and I said, is it me, or is it that our fathers were they more stressed? He said, no, we are more stressed. He's paying 300,000 naira a term for nursery school in an average school. A term. Nursery, not even secondary, and definitely not uni. So fees are higher. There's more stress, there's more expenses. Housing is more expensive these days. Wages are stagnating in many sectors. And economic stress sometimes can lead to withdrawal rather than social engagement for a variety of reasons. I'll say, again, I think socialization is also a factor, allow me, because many men are still growing up, hearing messages like be strong, don't complain, handle your problems. From a young
we're still
age,
teaching.
Those norms are still there, allow me.
They're still teaching toxic masculinity, Be stoic. Don't expose your feelings. Don't let them know what you're thinking. Don't. Yeah,
Do you think that delayed life milestones are also an issue? So what do I mean by delayed life milestones? So men these days are now reaching major. They're not even marrying. Some are not even marrying. But even when they do marry, they're marrying later. So marriage is seen later. Home ownership later. Stable career later. Fatherhood later. When those things are delayed or absent, life structure can seem as if it's disappearing. So a lot to unpack. In this topic. Even the way we do entertainment is now different. I mean, we had the cinema structure, concerts, arcades, e-world, etc., sports events, community gatherings. Now you can stream, you can game alone, you can play games with anyone from anywhere in the world. Just go on your PS5 and link up to the internet, and you don't have to go to a game center and play with other people where you're just playing. You can actually do that online. Scrolling social media for some people has replaced sports like tennis and football. That's their hobby. How is that a hobby?
Just be doom scrolling.
Just be scrolling on Instagram. That's a hobby for the day. That's what you're doing on Saturday. So it's things have changed. So it's seeming to me that you don't need other people per se to be entertained anymore, whereas then you needed them more. And that's why they're even saying now that music, in the music industry, for example, are trying to protect themselves from AI. I've listened to a couple of songs that some people sent to me on my WhatsApp, and the person said, "Do you think that was a real voice?" I said, "It sounded a bit too smooth." Say, "Yeah, you have a good ear for music." That was AI. And the music industry is kicking against it. So people are saying they want to hear real voices. Hollywood too is having a little bit of an issue where they're saying if they can get the AI to look and sound as good as a real actor, why are you going to pay somebody $15 million to act a film if you can just do an AI image? So my point is, even if you're able to do that, so what happens to the premieres? Is it the AI that's going to be at the premiere? Are you with me?
Yep.
Who's going to be at the premiere? So are we saying that we don't even need all those people anymore? I know that's a separate topic, but I think we're definitely more isolated. Society is becoming more isolated because of all these things that we've just talked about.
But what's the solution? I mean, is there even a solution? If so, what would that solution?
I think one of the ways we can look to talking about it is the first start to acknowledge that there is a problem that needs to be fixed. But I think doing things again that involves building and communicating with each other, like sports, like we talked about, gym groups, some kind of club, whatever you like to do, Formula One club, hiking club, tennis club, car clubs. Maybe you see some people that they like antique cars. You form yourself as a unit and meet. I have a friend who does, a friend of ours that is on the show, Okbe. Shout out to Okbe if you're watching this. He's a member of a biking. He's a member of a biking club, and they bike, I think, once a month. Sometimes they just go to Abeokuta and go and eat amala. 20 of them on their bikes, and just boom, for the weekend, Friday, they go there, they finish eating the amala, and they whiz back to Lagos. So that's a way of bonding. And he shares some of the pictures with me, and it's like super fun.
Those guys are having that's fun. So that's fun.
That's bonding. So we can rebuild activity-based male communities, and that can recreate the kind of environments that once existed in workplaces, unions, and clubs, since those things are not increasing but reducing. Of course, we have the traditional clubs that are still there, but we're not having new ones being built as a result. So we need to look to rebuild it. And I think a lot of men also rely almost entirely on a partner for emotional support. That is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But if that relationship ends, that support system is going to collapse for that man.
Yeah.
So I think men should look to cultivate 2 to 3 strong friendships outside of romantic relationships, where they can have regular meetups. It could even still be this same social media that they use to say, okay, let's talk once in a while. So a friend of ours went to Australia. He's a doctor, UK doctor who went to Australia, and we try as much as possible. Myself and another friend, we check up on him. We actively check up on him. And when he calls me, he just does video call. He doesn't do audio. Does video call. Yeah, man, I want to see you. I want to see how you're doing. Show wakpa. I'm like, man, my guy, you call? You can see me in files. So I just finished with the last patient of the day, because he feels isolated. He's in Australia. Yes, there are other Nigerians that are there, but all his day one guys are either in the UK, the US, or Nigeria.
Nigeria,
He doesn't have any
Canada
with him in Australia. He doesn't. So when I call him, or when I check up on him, or when we speak, in 30 minutes, he can unload what has happened over the last 1 year, and I can do the same. So things like that, just checking up on each other. How are you? How are you doing? It's not so much to, poke nose into that person's personal life. If they want to speak to you, fine. If they don't want to, you just know that, there's that support system. So I think that is one thing that can help. And I think another thing is, you talked about toxic masculinity earlier. I think I don't want men to become extremely emotionally expressive. That's not what I'm saying here. But I think if there's nothing bad with saying that, man, I've been stressed lately.
Well, what is wrong with a man being... what is wrong? Sorry to cut you off. What is wrong with a man being very expressive of his emotions? What's wrong with that?
Emotionally?
What's wrong with it?
I don't know, man. It's not just something that I would do. It's not something I would do. Yeah, I don't personally, I don't like it. I mean, those who want to do it can do it, but I'm talking about even from one guy to another guy is what I'm saying. Not to go too deep. Like if I'm saying I'm struggling with work, I just want to talk to you about it, and then I can go into the detail. Okay, this is what I'm struggling about. Either I don't understand it, or I have a couple of people that are worked on my case, or I'm struggling with motivation or whatever, or maybe I'm even looking for a new job. But that's me personally. I don't think men should need to be extremely emotional. I don't think that's how we're wired. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah. So I don't agree with you.
Okay, and that's fine.
I think that everyone should find a safe space to speak their minds, to speak their souls, to speak their truth, to speak specifically of how they're feeling, because you don't want to bottle these things inside. Of course, the problem is being able to find a safe space. That is the challenge. It's finding that safe space, whether it's in a partner or a close friend or whatever it is. I don't think that we are open enough because of our egos and co. Like I have a couple of friends that I talk to in depth.
Okay.
And I tell even them, I say to them, I said, there's some things that I will never tell you. I say to them that, you know what, in a few years when this phase is over, I'll tell you specifically how I feel right now, all the details. But there's only so much of how I feel that I want to tell you. Now, I don't think holding it in is healthy. It's just me acknowledging that my ego at that time will not let me acknowledge certain things, or not let me speak of certain things. So there are things that I don't acknowledge to myself, even to myself. I won't acknowledge them. And there are things that, so it's not about lying to yourself. It's just not.
You're not just ready to deal with the acknowledgement.
Opening certain boxes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then
when you go beyond that, it's, even when you do confront it yourself, you don't want to discuss it with somebody else because it's already bad enough for you to acknowledge this thing. But honestly, if you could find a safe space to discuss even those things, especially those things, because very often the things that you don't want to talk to somebody else about are the things that are most important to your soul at that time.
At that time.
You know, it's almost perverse that the thing that you're dying, the thing that's killing you inside, is the thing that you're not able to speak about. The man who is struggling financially and cannot tell anyone that, look, I'm not able to pay my bills every month. The man who is struggling with his relationship with his wife and how that is going or not going. The man who is in an abusive relationship with his wife, okay, who is not able to speak up because men shouldn't talk about these things, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I get what you mean. I think
so.
But go on.
I think that it's absolutely important for men to find a safe space, whether it's among their friend group. So, I hang out with my friends from time to time, Spartans from time to time. And we have some days when we hang out and just like, we're not bitching, but we're just... And it's good to know you have a group of friends who are going through, who can relate to what your struggles are. Whatever your struggles are, you know. I found that being open with my friends has been better for me. I have a few friends that I talk to, and honestly, being able to say certain things to them has been very good for me. Especially when you say something to someone and the guy goes, oh, I understand. I've been there before. You know, it's one of the things I miss about my old man is my father's one of those guys that you could tell him anything, you know. It was quite fun. It was quite odd, he and I. But you could tell him, I think if I killed someone, God forbid, he'd be the first person I'd call on the phone and say, listen, already, see, don't happen, don't shell, you know. And with him, I understood that I was dealing with someone who'd been wherever I had been before. Whatever I'd done, he'd done, and he wasn't afraid to talk about his experiences and how they made him feel. So guys should have that. And sometimes you have a problem and you speak on it and somebody is able to actually help. And you wouldn't have had that if you didn't speak up. Because obviously there's some things that you can get help with. Some things you can get advice. Somebody can actually advise you. Not necessarily help. But somebody can advise you. Either because they've been where you are, they've been there before, they know someone who's been there before. Or somehow they have a set of skills that enables them to recognize your problem and help you address it. You know? No one should suffer alone.
In isolation, yeah.
No. And there's something wrong with this notion that men should be strong and not. And there's this line from a Michael Jackson song, and they told me that man should be.
It's not changing though.
Yeah.
It's not changing. But go on.
I think it's a line from a Michael Jackson song, and they told me that the man should be stable and walk when not able and fight till the end. And no, we're human. We're human, you mean. There are guys like just going through stuff and they can't speak about that, they can't talk about for whatever reason.
It's tough because many people have been broken.
You're not alone, bro. You're not alone.
Many people have been broken.
Alone. Okay. Whatever it is you're going through, somebody's been there before. One of my dad's oldest friends, one of his two oldest friends from maybe secondary school or something. Two of them are still very much alive and very much in my life. And I'm able to call them and say, because whatever I've been through, they've been there. And I've been through some struggles. And they're able to say, Of course, about me born to real. The two of them I speak Ijebushto to, about me born to real. And they're able to say, they'll listen, they'll offer advice. And I'm grateful to have those guys. Yeah. Able to have those guys. And I'm thankful for them daily.
Yeah, I mean, it's a passage of right, really. If you still have access to people like that, whether your dad or people that are dad-like or people that are close to your dad, is also a form of the support that we're talking about. So it could be a friend, it could be somebody elderly, somebody who can give you advice, and sometimes not even advice, it's just somebody to listen who is not going to judge you.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why sometimes, like when you talked about relationship problems or things like marriage, sometimes for men, it's not even about toxic masculinity or any of those words that people use. For some men, it's just shame.
Yeah.
For some men, it's just shame. And why do I say shame? Maybe you are the overtly expressive type, to tie into what you said earlier. And, you guys, your pictures, your holiday pictures, your wedding pictures, you're very expressive in the way you show your love. And for some reason, it didn't work out. For some men, they find it very difficult to express themselves, almost as if the crew is going to judge them to say, but you're the one that was so this, what happened? You were our role model of what marriage should look like. But that's not the point. The point is whatever happened has happened. You're supposed to support that person. So I think education is needed on both sides, on the person who is afraid to speak up and the men in the community or his friends that should not judge him and that have that. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a difficult thing to say, but the education is on both sides, my brother.
Yeah.
I hope I'm making sense.
Relationships can break you.
Yeah.
Relationships can break you. And the way the world is dating nowadays, the way people are moving nowadays.
How are they moving?
Some guys will get all the attention, all the some guys get all the love. There's this small majority of guys that will get all the love because they're successful, because they are wealthy.
Yes.
And one of the pressures you're facing these days is we live in the material world.
Very.
It's a very material world. And so you keep getting these signals from women that you keep getting it's all about the money. If you don't have money, you don't show up. You have to have money. You have to, it's not just provide, but it is this thing, and you hear it online, you see it.
It's everywhere.
Even women our age, it's not asking for the normal. It's setting some standards that are far beyond the reach of the average. And then everyone's there, but I don't want the average guy. I saw something on someone's Instagram today. She says, I date within my desired, something like, I only date within my desired demographic or my desired target group, something like that.
So it's aspirational dating to cut.
Yeah, so she's picture was taken on the private jet, and she goes, I only date within my whatever it is. And this woman I saw her profile. She's not the one that owns that private jet. Okay. She's probably not the one that owns it. She's not the one that paid for that aircraft. She's a passenger on that aircraft. But she's now saying only guys who can afford to put me in this lifestyle need apply. So if you're a regular guy with a regular job, regular whatever it is, don't apply, because that woman is not you're not her type. You're not you needn't bother.
You can't.
And it's a signal that you're getting from an overwhelming number of women.
Yes.
You have to be able to afford me.
So
you have to be able to
that
provide.
adds to extra pressure.
Yeah, and it's not just providing. It's not providing a regular life. It's not. Can you? Can we pay our mortgage? Can we buy a house? It's more along the lines of, can you put me on a private jet? Can you put me on a private yacht?
But is that realistic for a large amount of people, given that the people who have these resources are infinitely how is the word?
Infinitely small. Yeah, they're very small.
Yeah.
But again, okay, look, you can't even blame a woman or anyone for putting out what they want. You can't blame someone for having a desire. But if you sit in a regular man's life, and all the women that you would like to date are only talking about what you bring to the table financially, then it can be lonely, even if you have that money. Even if you have that money. Even if you have that money, it's still, is that all you're worth?
Exactly.
Is that it? This is all I'm worth.
My wallet. Yeah.
But again, see, you know how I am now. I can also see a woman's side of that argument that says, you see me and you see my face and my body, and that's all you want to relate to. Is that all I'm worth? Okay, that's all I'm worth.
Is that not how we got into transactional dating?
So the blame is on both sides, right?
Yeah, it is.
If all you're after is how she looks and her physical, and she's okay, since you're going to be superficial, I'm going to be superficial too. But dating is one of the factors that are, when you add dating in with the financial pressures, you've got a recipe for loneliness. And I'm not saying that there are not women who will and
tying it back to the topic of loneliness, yes.
I mean, I'm not saying there are no women that will date a struggling man or a regular man. They are. But if the overwhelming message you're getting from the women around you is no broke men or no regular guys, and by no broke men, a lot of these women mean no regular guys.
Yeah. No, and they're not kidding. They're not kidding. It's not just
no
social
regular
media.
Guys.
It's real world. It's not social media. It's real. It's actually real world.
Yeah.
They're real world. Yeah.
It's so, $4,000, $10,000, $25,000 purse.
Yeah, there are many reasons. Yeah, many reasons. It's all linked.
And look, again, in a world where a lot of women are doing so well for themselves, you can also understand a woman that's saying, look, I want someone who's at least on par with me financially. So that, again, because you don't want a man who is envious of you or jealous of you, or resentful of your success.
That can be a problem, a big problem.
So you don't blame a woman who says, I want a man who's at a particular level, so that I don't have to bend. I don't have to subjugate myself to his ego.
Yeah.
If he's got his own and I've got mine, and it's fair.
It's fair. I think it's fair. But again, lots of pressures. There's that performative, guys. A man is. I think it was Chris Rock that said something, that a man is only loved because of what he can do. You mentioned about dogs and women being loved unconditionally and babies being loved unconditionally, but men are loved based on their performative actions. And while he's a social commentator, and you can argue that he's right or he's wrong, irrespective of what you think about Chris Rock's statement, it's a talking point for something to say, is it making sense? It's the world we live in. But what I think
Chris Rock makes a lot of sense. I think Chris makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he has great writers that write for him. Yeah, no, he's done research before. He doesn't just talk anyhow. And in that statement, he's probably even talking about himself. Maybe he was talking about himself. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comment section what you think about this topic. always try as much as possible to have a support system, a support network. Hopefully, one or two things that I said or Lami said on this particular episode resonated with you. If it did, please give us a like. Kindly consider subscribing. You can share it on any social media networks. There's a lot of support out there. There's a lot of help out there. Sometimes you just have to reach out for it. We are advocates for men speaking
mental
up.
health,
Our mental health, and speaking up when we have struggles. And don't be deterred if you speak to maybe one set of people and they don't listen. You have to try again. It's like everything else in life. It's not always going to be that smooth. But there is help out there.
Yeah. One of the issues that affect men is comparison. Okay.
Comparison Olympics.
When you think you should be a particular place in life and you're not there, and your friends, it's a comparative pressure, and your peers seem to be doing so much better.
And just gliding.
And just coasting. It can feel so... It's one of the most difficult things when you feel like you've fallen behind your peers. When you look at the guys that you started out with and they're doing so much better, it can be very it can be hard.
No,
we're not alone.
But
this life has trials. People lose their jobs.
It can be hard. Anything can happen at any time to anybody.
In Donald Trump's economy, in this Trump's economy, I have about 6 to 7 friends who lost their jobs.
In the US?
Yeah. In the last, he's been president for 13 months.
Jeez.
I've had about 6, 7 friends lose their
income.
Yep, in that time.
And let me guess, it's not been easy for them to replace it.
No.
In the UK, allow me, people are not even getting calls. I know people that are not even... So it's not that they're not applying. They're applying, they're on multiple platforms, but they're not even getting the calls to even...
Because you're almost 50. You're almost 50 years old.
Yeah, so there's age.
There's
age. They say there's no age discrimination, but it's not true.
It's partly also... how much am I going to pay you relative to a guy who's half your age? You can do the same job,
yes.
For less than half of what we pay you.
Yes, there's also that. So from a business perspective, let's start. 50-year-old is coming with considerable value. What the term to be considerable value? Maybe in sales, marketing.
And can you pay for that? Can you afford to pay for that?
Yeah. So, there's also an assumption, right or wrong, that an older man, probably we can pick that up in a different topic, allow me. An older man is not a teachable man, and an older man is going to come with wahala. It's going to come with trouble. He's going to be questioning policies and just... Is it
a lie? Is it a lie?
Yeah, the 25-year-old wants promotion, wants this, wants that. So I'd rather deal with that guy. I don't want to deal with you. You're gonna come here and be giving me grief. I don't want grief.
You're going to question why I'm doing something a particular way because you have experience. You're going to ask questions and I don't want to answer.
This is how we did it in Merrill Lynch. This is how we did it in Microsoft. This is how we did it. No, you're here now. But you don't want to agree that you're here now. You're still talking about how they did it better 10 years ago when you were elsewhere. The 25-year-old doesn't know anything from...
Doesn't have that baggage.
He just has his project. He did his project just a few years ago. He's grateful to have a job and he's looking to save money to buy his house and probably get married. So he's easier to deal with. So just a couple of things just to add to the conversation as to why it can be quite difficult for older men to get back into the job market, especially when the economy is crazy as it is in Trump's economy. But God will help
It's
us.
crazy.
God will help all of us.
It's crazy, or it's very crazy. It's very crazy. But I mean, how does one navigate the relationship thing?
In terms of what?
How do you navigate? And like we said, people have been are lonely. How do you, in a world where it's difficult to date, how does someone find companionship? Because it's not, look, you get to an age.
People are using people they know to recommend them to people. That's what I'm seeing happen a lot more. People don't trust the dating apps, and people don't necessarily, maybe in Lagos, but other parts of the world, people are not going clubbing or socializing as much in terms of going to places where they can meet women or women looking to meet men. So they usually now tied to, they don't want to do it at work for obvious reasons, church, hopefully for obvious reasons too. So they're now constrained to either a dating app, or they meet somebody through somebody, or they happen to go to a function like a wedding or somewhere, they meet someone. It becomes more limited as you get older. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It becomes more limited.
Yeah.
So a lot of
your dating pool is also sort of can
reduced.
be funny. Yeah, I mean, it's in theory it's a bigger dating pool. I mean,
But in
you're
practice,
50 in theory, anybody above 25 in theory. But in practice, do you want to be dating someone that's half your age? You know. And look, a 30-year-old is mature, right? But there's a 20-year gap between yourself and that 30-year-old.
yeah.
It also depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking to have children? Are you looking to are you just looking for companionship?
So many things.
Factors. So many factors. But you don't think it's because men are also more vulnerable in terms of, like, our fathers suppressed these emotions. Like I said, I believe that our fathers went through their phases. Mine certainly did. And then
mine did as well.
Went through his challenges, and he was open about his challenges. As much as I can remember, you know. But so you don't. How much of it is also men just being more acknowledging their mental health challenges more, and the world being acknowledging it more? Maybe it was even lonelier in our dad's generation. Maybe they were just suffering in silence.
Or maybe they just drank Gouda and Stout and Hop, and it went away. I don't know. They socialized one way or the other to say their, and that's where the whole beer parlor gist comes from, and barbershop gist, because that's one of the places where men used to go and socialize, and people would just talk. They go to, and they just start talking about their issues with strangers, drinking beer in some pub or in some bar. So I think now there's more awareness, like you said. There's been a big push. It could be better, but it's definitely more. Is much improved from maybe a decade ago, even 2 decades ago. There's more awareness about mental health. Get help. So hopefully, all those messages are being circulated, and people are using some of those mediums available to speak out, because it's important. It's important, and there's no shame. Just speak. Just try.
Just speak.
It might not be easy, especially if you're not used to it. Something you've never been used to. We're just telling you to just go tomorrow and do it. We're not saying that.
I think men should be able to create circles, like create intimate circles.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, get yourselves, put 2 or 3 guys together and form a regular circle. You know what? We're going to meet once a month to discuss whatever it is that's going on. Like a circle, like, and we're going to be intentional about it. It's not going to be a moan session. We're not going to come here and and abuse our wives, unless that's your thing. We're just going to come here and share our pressures in the judgment-free zone. I think we need to be more intentional about that and about checking up on each other.
Yep, I agree.
But I can understand the pressures. I can understand how some people are incredibly lonely, because it can be a lonely journey.
Yes.
I have a few friends I talk to. I have friends who are, but my friend circle is shrunk. Without a doubt, it's shrunk. And sometimes I don't want to hang out with some people because our problems are not the same. Like, our issues are not the same issues. And I just don't want to be around that. I don't know. You have a different set of problems than the ones I do. And I just...
Oníkálukú pẹ̀lú problem ẹ̀.
Bao. Yàrá kékeré, ìṣòro ẹ̀ kékeré. Say a small room has small problems.
Everybody with their
Say a big room has big problems. It's crazy. The world is crazy. Everyone, I want to thank you for watching us. If you've been touched by the things we discussed today,
thank you so much.
Please leave us a comment. If you want to be part of this show, you want to suggest a topic, or you want to be part of this show, send us a message. We're at 2grownmen@gmail.com. We're at 2grownmen on Instagram. We're at 2grownmen on Twitter X. But drop us an email or leave us a comment here, and we'll reach out to you. If you want to be part of the show, if there's something you want to talk about with us, or you want to come on the show and talk about this subject, or any subject at all,
get in touch.
Holler at us, okay? We'll be glad to talk to you. We'll be glad to put you on the show. Whatever it is you want. You're not alone, no. You're not alone. You're not alone. Whatever it is you're going through, this phase will pass. This phase will pass. Whatever, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Absolutely.
I'm going to speak in cliches. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and joy comes in the morning. You hear me?
Yeah, no, you said it all. You said it all. Thank you all. Please leave a comment and let us know what you thought about this episode, and share it with somebody who you think might find this useful. I think it's important. And if you're raising sons, maybe it's time to also let them know it's okay to cry sometimes. When they're hurting. It's not all the time you have to say, don't cry, you're a boy. So I think sometimes parents are also part and parcel of this thing that happens in adulthood. We're trying to fix a larger problem that has been there for 20, 30 years. It's not easy. It's not easy by any stretch of imagination. But like I said, if you feel, that you got something from this, please give us a thumbs up and, kindly subscribe. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.
Thank you for watching us. Good night. Odaro.
Thank you.
Thank you.